Hey guys, welcome back to Fleetyards. Because I'm Captain Foley.
I'm Commander Cockins. That was loud in my ears for some reason. He's
I'm sorry.
passionate about this week's episode of Orville. And by this week, I mean we reviewed the last one came out less than a week ago. We reviewed it less than 10 minutes ago. So we're on episode 2 already. Still Bill of Orville goodness. The sci-fi that we can relate to.
That's right. And so this is episode 2 of season 2 called Primal Urges. And
Thoughts?
I'm not sure how I feel about this one. It was good. It was well written, but I feel dirty. I wish Orville would stop doing things like this, not because I don't agree with it, just because it's uncomfortable to talk about in a review.
Well, we're a Trek Starship show.
Yes.
Talking about porn addiction was never something we intended to do.
Well, starship porn. I guess we can relate.
In that is totally justified. No, yeah, I felt uncomfortable as the clarity of what was going on. Very well done, but just like Bortus and the character that he's built, so deadpan. I think the fact there's no real music in those scenes, and we'll get into it in a minute, it's very played so straight. You'll feel so there, and you don't want to feel there. So what's the storyline, Stuart? Because we've got a more clear A and B plot in this episode, and a lot of time on the A plot. Real heavy focus.
Well, the A plot involves Bortus and his mate, which I can't think of his name. Clyden, yes. And they're having relationship issues. Bortus keeps leaving the bridge or leaving his shift early. And this is really, yeah. And anyway, heading to this environmental simulator. I won't call it a holodeck, even though it's a holodeck. And then he's coming home late, and he's telling Keldon that the captain's making him work late. What you think on a ship this size, you'd be easy enough to talk to the captain and say, "Why are you keeping my husband so late?" Or you just check where is he on the ship, kind of thing. Anyway, so and then we find out that he's spending all this time
Getting laid, hollow laid.
Yes, in very freaky ways, and I love how they tie it in though with what happened in season 1, in episode 3 about a girl, where it's basically Keldon's decision that the operation go through, that their daughter become a boy.
Yep.
It was Bortus never really agreed with it, and that's kind of been the crux of this whole thing ever since then. His views on him has changed, and I love that because it's very relatable to a lot of people. Just that one incident in your relationship that kind of changes everything. But it's not unrecoverable necessarily, but it was. I love that they tied that in.
It's continuity done right.
Yeah,
and not rushing its re-inclusion. And then the B plot, which is weird, which I thought was a beautiful sci-fi concept, that a star in a star system is going red giant, I believe they said, and it's already eaten up. I think they said 6. I haven't watched it, but we were doing a less detailed review than we used to do because we want to do a live stream as well. It has destroyed 16 planets in the solar system, and they're doing the last one, and the crew is so honoured that to actually watch a natural phenomenon of a star eating up via gravity well a planet. We've got 3 days, let's enjoy this. And as the story goes on, it gets more developed to, there's some rare mineral on the planet we could use for fuel. Cool, let's look deeper.
Underground, yeah. They could power the ship for a year.
Which is really cool.
Are they that desperate for fuel, though?
But it's free. They said, got in the sense that they had to then not necessarily charge the planetary union for fuel, but maybe it comes out of their fuel allowance, and if they get it for free, they can put the money into other resources. Is the vibe I got. So it would just be a good score for them for their budget for the year. Is what I got. And then they reveal, there was a civilization on this planet. Nice reveal. We'll go look at archaeology stuff. And then another reveal of, there's still people there. And they make contact, and then that changes everything. And then they have to do this rescue plan to save them, and they sort of do, and they sort of get out, and interesting. But real nice CGI, real nice visual. They show stages of the water layer being taken up and the ocean, the mantle, and visually, like, I've never seen that. remember ever having seen that in that sort of very clinical yet beautiful way. So I
Yeah,
really
and
appreciated that.
that's exactly how TNG would have done it too. First the atmosphere, then the
Yeah,
water evaporate or boiling off.
yeah.
Yeah, and it's probably not just me, but every time I watch an episode of Orville, I always picture Star Trek overlaid on top of it, like the shots of the Orville with the sun and the planet in the
Yeah.
distance. I always pictured the Enterprise right there. Usually the TNG Enterprise on, but anyway, I don't know if I'm the only one that does that, but yeah, it
Yeah.
was an interesting plot, and the way it ended too, with only being able to save half of the people,
Hmm.
and then watching the other half just basically die. It's like, d- okay, thanks, Orville.
But
Um,
it was bittersweetly beautiful. I was genuinely like, this is really well played scene. Hell of direction, hell of underdone, real like, yeah,
mm,
felt it.
yeah, absolutely. No, so that was. Would you consider that the B plot though? Really?
In ter-
It's the one that started the show
yeah, but in
off.
terms of time spent, one had like 18 minutes, one had like 30, I'd say. It was just in terms of balance because they kept going back to Bortus and he got much longer scenes.
Um, Actually, it's surprising you asked that because the one with the planet I thought was really well done, but as soon as I started watching the episode, I'm like, there's going to be some people on that planet.
Okay.
I saw that coming a mile away, and then it's like getting through more of the three episodes. It's like nothing still, nothing still. I'm like, oh, well, maybe I'm wrong. Nope, wasn't wrong. So that I called that right away.
Did you like
Unfortunately,
being right though, or was it like, oh,
no, I
okay,
did. I thought that was kind of
okay,
I wasn't. I would have just rather have them have the planet, just watch the planet do its thing and get some
okay,
scientific data and then be done.
okay? So definitely a B plot, but
Well, yeah, yeah. So I enjoyed that plot somewhat. I hated the fact that the decision they had to make and had basically, and they could only take 30 people. Is that just the capacity of the shuttle as far as liftoff capacity? Because when you see those shots from
yeah,
inside, there's like this much room between
yeah.
the seat and the people, and like you could shove at least another 15, 20 people in there. Come on now.
There's a scene in Stargate SG-1 where actually Atlantis, sorry, where they're trying to rescue people, and they specifically say, we've got a lot of space, but it's not a question of space; it's a question of how quickly we can recycle the oxygen. If we all die because too many
Okay,
people,
yeah.
that's not worth it. So it's a shuttle; it's not designed to evacuate 30 people. So I kind of like that. You're right; it was very blatantly. There's not 30 people in the shuttle. I don't think I want to hire 30 extras. If you look at the scene at the end when they're,
No, but
almost dead, it's
they,
like there's like 11 people. That you didn't get the crowd mentality that I think you almost need to be able to a waste of hiring 70 extras, and you couldn't have
well,
fit 30 in the shuttle. I don't think necessarily.
yeah, we've seen the inside of the shuttle a few times. We saw it in this episode
Yep.
as well, from the front to the back.
Hmm.
There's only like 6 seats or whatever, but yeah, I can see. But when they filmed it, they should have had the people like right up against the back
Yep.
of the chair, and
Yep.
that way you wouldn't have needed a lot of people anyway,
Very
because you
true.
can't see past them. Just the way they did it, I think, was lazily done and kind of made people that don't think outside the box think, why can't those people? Why can't we fit more people? But you're right, the oxygen recyclers, the liftoff capacity, whatever.
With the gravity of the bloody star, I was thoroughly. I mean, this tells us that damn advanced tech or what that a shuttle can survive being this close to a star.
Yeah, it's another thing that bothered me when they landed and they looked up at the sun. With the sun being that close, you'd just be vaporized. I'm sorry, that I don't buy at all. But
Yeah, it was beautiful. I love the moment. He's like, "This is cool," but it should be like, "Sir, logic dictates I shouldn't be able to survive this. Otherwise, why aren't we all just looking?"
Isaac should be melting.
I mean, they specifically called out these are the only people that can survive. Fine, but it would
Yeah.
have been, and they did the shuttle specifically. Fine, but little sci-fi lines like when they land, they should have said they said engines off. If engines are off, it would fly away. I'm sorry, the gravity should be so high. I mean, like the vibe is so close to that planet. It would be nice if they said emergency magnetic lock to the planet achieved. We're stable. Single line. Moving on. Accelerate. Moving the shield bubble to the entrance. Zzz. Now we can see they're being protected by a shield bubble. Okay, great. Because I thought if humans can't
Yeah.
live with radiation, but only these two can, with radiation suits, how are the people in the planet able to get out of their system and survive in their radiation suits? Are you saying their radiation suits are more powerful than your radiation suits? Like, I thought, oh, all those people are dead now because they couldn't survive that little between. That was the risk factor, but they could survive. It's not like they've evolved to survive planetary solar death from literally visible, blotting out everything you can see. So they need a bit more sci-fi in their sci-fi at the end, which is weird because it was such a good sci-fi concept. But when they, so I was thinking, oh, it's a budgetary thing. But they got down to the underground bit and they built a decent little set and costumes and characters. Like, oh, they put some money in this scene. Why isn't there a bit more thought? I mean, just a little bit, need one more step to make that really fit.
Yeah, I totally agree with you that a few more lines would have made all the difference. Like oxygen recycling in the ship. I love that. Never really considered that. I considered liftoff capacity. That's what I said to Sylvia. There's still a lot of room in there. Yeah. Maybe it's all, but yeah, that's good. Like a line like that.
Yeah, but that's both, isn't it? Because then you say oxygen and we, if we're too heavy, we can't take off. I mean, both would work brilliantly. And it's weird how much they focus on we have to get Bortus down there and didn't focus on the logic of the saving people bit.
Yeah, a little bit too much emphasis was put on the Bortus plot, I think, in this one. The other plot could have used a little bit more time.
I got that feeling a bit too as well, actually. I'm glad we thought the same there. Okay, there we go. Now we're done with the B plot, the amazing science bit. Your thoughts on the Bortus porn plot, which I never thought I would say or watch.
It was disturbing at some points. Just it was too overt. It was just too
real.
A little too much. Yeah. Like the one guy licking Isaac's helmet. It's like,
that was the best though.
Oh no,
that was Seth humor to the perfect.
Yeah, but I loved the black the engineer. I can't remember his name. Anyway, I loved his reaction to the whole thing. He's just like, he's out of here.
Yeah.
But no, it was really cool seeing the other alien species that they got the program from, because to see that much of an alien on board ship, doing his thing in engineering. Yep.
Seamless.
And that's like TNG Star Trek needs more of that. They need more out there aliens that would be in Starfleet, instead of just a helmeted person walking down the corridor. But we'll get into that another day. So yeah, I thought that was really cool that his people are like these experts at doing
porn.
Environmental simulator programming.
They specialize in dirty porn.
Yeah.
I love his dialogue as well. It was so just brilliant dialogue.
Dude, keep your voice down. Yeah.
What's up, dude? It's like big alien. Yeah. What up, dude? Brilliant, yeah.
Yeah, just everyday dialogue, just hanging out. And then he gets the program and he's like, we don't get many requests from Federation or from from Union officers. Pass it along. And I thought, it's an odd thing to say, but okay. And then once the virus kicks in the computer, I'm like, okay.
What do you think his friend was trying to virus it? Because that confused me. Like, it was a funny concept. Okay, a porn virus, that's a thing that is in
everything.
You can associate that in modern day.
Yeah.
But was it intentional? Was a friend trying to actively damage this ship? Because you would assume they'd know.
It might have been trying to access Union files or something, putting in some kind of program, and it just didn't go right. But yeah, that's the vibe I got. That tell more of your Union friends about this, because we can get this spread through the fleet. Nobody would notice unless you're in an emergency situation that this virus is there necessarily. I don't know. Anyway, it was just an interesting little twist at the end, which I think should have been incorporated in with the first episode with her son and messing with the replicators. That would have made more sense to have them accidentally do something to the computer system. Yep,
that causes real damage. Like those repercussions would have made that. Yeah, I absolutely agree. And we mentioned that briefly in the other episode. Yeah, for sure. But I'm hoping kind of that virus plays a part again, because that's an expensive little suit to make. That's not cheap, and it works really well. Like the movement, the way it pushes buttons, it's actually really well done. That's going to come back, so it'd be nice if then we see maybe at a ship that one of those dudes in the helm, and they've used Union secret files to do something else. That would be an easy payoff for another good story, alien-driven story. I would have kind of liked that.
Yeah, I could buy that.
And then what did you think when it actually got revealed to be porn addiction?
I'm not sure what to think. I mean, I like the whole kind of subplot where they're going through therapy. I love the therapy
Yes,
aspect. I love their divorce ritual too.
which we didn't
But
mention. That was
yeah,
that was a plot point. He stabs him, to kill him. I'm amazed how. I mean, Mocklins are quite deadpan anyway, but I'm surprised how well Clyden, because Clyden at that point thinks, no, I've killed the dick. Like he's dead to me. We're now divorced, and then he comes back. It's like, oh, this doesn't happen. I guess the divorce papers came back unsigned. Like he should.
he's got a better lawyer than me.
Yeah, I thought he should have resisted that a bit more, like more of a reaction to that, because if he assumed he was dead, he assumed that was the end. So then to be undone, I was expecting a more of a reaction. Beyond that okay, second chance, yeah, I get to do, that was a small thing. But I think since Mocklins are so like deadpan and straight, that he's just living with a reality. It's just okay, next.
It's kind of like the logical Vulcans. It's a logical thing to do.
Yes.
The situation you're in, no sense dwelling on it.
Yeah, yeah, I'd buy that.
But yeah, the whole counseling with the doctor was interesting and very well done. I love that she's also the counselor, the therapist on board. So that's cool. And then yeah, it comes out all about this tie-in with episode 3 about a girl. That's when this all started, and he even admits he doesn't think he can get past that. So it'll be interesting to see where that goes from here. But I love that tie-in. That was really well done. That's what more shows like this need more of. I mean, TNG didn't really do it the first few seasons, but then eventually started tying stuff in like that, which is nice.
But still, minimally.
Enterprise did it from the beginning, which is amazing. They're always referencing what they did last week, or whatever, as they would. Yeah. But certain shows like Discovery, not necessarily so much. So,
or at least poorly. And then the final note then is that they rescue them, and Bortus sees this family's genuine final apocalyptic moments, and then what happens? Sort of the final beat, positive beat, I should say.
Well, yes, he's happy that he has Keldon, or is it Clyden? Not Keldon, Clyden, and his son. He kind of realized at that moment that those are important, to have people in your life that you care about and they care about you. So it was really kind of heartbreaking, to be honest, that whole at least 30, 40 people dying. And the Orville itself almost crashed, like flying into the sun as a result of Bortus's addiction and the fact he needed more than what was available. Needed to get a special program made. It was just actually pretty. The whole episode was kind of played as not super, super serious until the very end, where it's like, oh, we can only take, and all of a sudden it's like the last couple minutes is like, whoomp, a big slap to the face.
The last reality. Like 7 minutes are constant payoffs.
Yeah. Like
again. It's like, oh, yep. Because I actually like the end of danger bit. That was actually, I thought, a really nice, like, yep, this consequences, man, consequences, yeah. Yeah, it raises the stakes in a, I thought, very obvious way, but in a good way.
From episode 1 to episode 2, as we mentioned, episode 1 has like 6 different layers of stories, which is just, it's all interpersonal stories, which is neat, but it's kind of lost in the wash. This one is very focused on 2 stories, which is nice. And I think it was really well done. Well paced. I wasn't bored at any point.
Yeah. Although I think maybe a few too many Bortus, like they kept resetting it up. I understand it was actively progressing, although the doctor's visit was a step backwards. Being a torture victim is less than a doctor's visit. That should be the way around. Like if you're trying to show escalation, it didn't quite work. But you only needed 2. You didn't need 3. Because the actor, he's great. He's doing a great job. But when he plays it so deadpan, you don't feel escalation in what he's feeling, because visibly there isn't an escalation in what he's feeling, because there isn't a visible feeling, except in the last one, but that was obviously the special case. So it's kind of like it's the exact same scene again. I appreciate that ended up being a medical version. It wasn't just him cheating on, like it was like I think the greatest strength of it is it's what TNG can never do, although it tried to do with Barclay, but it was still very vanilla. This is what they couldn't have done, but looks at, and we did an episode on the holodecks when we filmed live, and we obviously stay away from the sex topic because that's the obvious one, but it's not the point of it. But what if there is, you can just do that and it's not a problem? Well, this actually dealt with it in a real way, a real solid way, and totally seriously, totally memorably. That's why I think that's its greatest strength. It dealt with a genuine sci-fi issue that was created with sort of Star Trek and such, or at least the ilk of Star Trek.
Yeah, and Orville's been doing that constantly since first season. There's been a few episodes that you just feel uncomfortable talking about on our format anyway, because we focus more on the ships and stuff. So, and they're doing a great job of it. They really are. They're really hitting these points home. And like you said, TNG couldn't really do it that way. I did think of Barclay a lot during this episode, though. Me and Sylvia said back and forth. It's like Barclay's hollow addictions. We got a few laughs out of that, but
although I will say though that I think we don't watch shows like this to be thrown these sorts of issues, if that makes sense. Like, we like the more sci-fi stuff. That's where I like Voyager a lot, because they had a lot of great sci-fi concepts, less focused on characters. Okay, I wish they had more character stuff, but the sci-fi niche was always the want for sci-fi. Ooh, cool alien, ooh, cool species, ooh, cool ship, ooh, cool anomaly, ooh, cool... that was all filtered in. When you're being thrown these heavy topics, the sci-fi elements are brought down. Yes, it was in the sci-fi context, but it was treated so human, so real. Then I'm watching and thinking, I don't want to watch this one again. I don't want to see it again. I've had my fill of character. I now know what I need to know. I'm not going to get anything else from it, sci-fi wise. I'm not, you know what I mean? Whereas the one with Alara in the holodeck, A's across the board. It was both really well done. And the one with a time traveling lady, who's trying to bring stuff back to the futures as antiques. Brilliant sci-fi concept, brilliant character piece. Awesome. This was too real that for me the sci-fi was very secondary, and I want more sci-fi in my sci-fi. Is that a bit unfair? No,
that's 100%. I totally agree with you. I think that sci-fi plot should have had a lot more time focused on it and explaining a lot more of what we kind of pointed out near the end. And this main one toned down just a little bit. Because like you said, there was a lot of repeating of scenes and just, setups that really didn't need to be there. You could have made that a lot shorter, and it would have been more comfortable to watch. Unless they were going for that uncomfortable feeling to kind of hit the point home. But
uncomfortable, hold on. Although, my God, the makeup quality and the full... I mean, that act, I'm so sorry. Times they had full body makeup.
And the guys stand there talking to them like... Jesus. It's like
they committed, and they committed hard, and they got a star on that, because you totally realize... There's a totally realized alien. I think it would have benefited, because I also think, like I mentioned in the last review, we're running out of time for this review, but all the characters have obviously different sort of roles, and they've obviously tweaked them slightly for season 2. The engineer, Jamal, he was given the job of fixing it, but every line he got was a very straight fix it line. He had some decent stuff at the end, but it was very reactionary. He's lost, they're not giving the spark he had in season 1, which was a bit more humour, but the humour level again brought down to almost bare minimal. The meta humour, the out of place humour, again brought right down. I'm like, I'm missing that instantly, because that's the juicy spark they can do that other ones can't do. Okay, licking Isaac's head was one of those, and that worked brilliantly, but that's one of the few standouts.
Yeah. Well, I think episode 3 or 4 or something is going to focus exclusively on him, his character, the engineer, because he had that really important episode in season 1 where he broke the planet's rules and almost got
good episode.
I think that might have knocked some sense into him a little bit. I mean, to realize that there's consequences to your actions, because after that he seems to have toned his character down. I don't know if that was deliberate, or if I know he got promoted essentially to engineering, but I kind of miss seeing him on the bridge with that back and forth.
If they had brought him on the mission as well and said, you've got to stay in the shuttle, and now he has to manually keep the shuttle in place. Another ticking clock. He had to manually. They've got enough power for 12 seconds of shield at a time, and now he's got radiation poisoning. He's being a brave guy, but he's the only engineer that can do it. You had these levels of sci-fi tension to give him some really nice, like, computer says, warning, 5 seconds until radiation poisoning. He's like, I'll do it in 7, I don't care. Give him something cool. It's like, I've always wanted a tan. You know what I mean? Some, like, put him in that situation with giving him the shielding. Like, you could have written that well to give him that, because he was leading the charge when it came to fixing it. But it was always just, yes sir, I fixed it. No sir, it's been but in 5 hours. It's like, wasn't,
Yeah, I hear you.
Small thing. So your final score.
Final score on this one's going to have to be same one I gave the last one, 7.5. I mean, this one focused on an A and B plot. It wasn't all over the place, which is nice. It was well written. I did like the sci-fi aspect of the planet, and seeing that those visuals were fantastic. But the ending of that plot felt very rushed and not very well explained or thought out, and that's kind of disappointing to me. So, yeah, 7.5 for this one.
I'm gonna give it a good 8, just because even though it's not my necessary sort of story, I think they achieved their goal very well. And you've got to give it credit for that. It was still well shot, well acted, well charactered. They had a concept and they realized it. Good job them. And I did appreciate all the planet stuff. I wouldn't say it was rushed at the end, but it wasn't as explained. But that's because they had so much time to give to Bortus. So it's a little bit slightly awfully balanced, by like 5%. 5% awfully balanced. But that's all in editing, really. But I think an 8. I think it's a good piece of TV that you should almost watch just for a life lesson. And it's kind of what Orville can do well. I just wish the sci-fi. I think they probably knew that they did too many jokes first episode, and too much action of the original season, and now they've done a bit too much character, not enough. But that might rebalance as we get into the season.
Exactly. We're only 2 in, so who knows what's coming. So. But yeah, so guys, if you want to help support the show and see more reviews like this, you can do so by heading over to Patreon. The link is in the description below. Help us on a monthly basis, or other ways to donate, trekyards.com, or just check out the Trekyards Fleetyards store. Click the link, buy some cool merch, and help us out that way. Or you can always like the video, subscribe to the channel, and share the video around. So
yeah, and do let us know what you think of the episode, obviously, in the comments below. Yes. If you agree, if you don't agree, if it really hit home for you, if it relates to issues, or if you really can't relate, then also let us know, because that's all important stuff.
That's right. So until next time, guys, I'm Captain Foley.
I am Connor Congs.
See you later.
Bye, guys.